What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the Intelligent Money Investing channel. Today, I'm going to go through all of the things that you need to understand about an ETF before you buy it. There's a few objectives, a few things that you need to know, so you're not exposing yourself to a risky ETF or something that you don't want to be invested in. Before we do that, I want to ask you guys to please drop a like on this video if you could. Really helps out the channel. Let's try and hit 15 likes on this video. We were a little shy on the last one, so I'm lowering it down to 15. That'd be absolutely awesome. And check out that Discord chat down in the description. And also, if you want to sign up for Robinhood, hit that link in the description as well, and you'll get a free stock. Now let's get into this. So I'm on both the Robinhood app and the web service here, but I have a few things I want to talk about that the Robinhood doesn't exactly contain all of these things. So you want to use other sources like Yahoo Finance for a little bit of web research before you go and buy any ETF on the Robinhood brokerage app. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys is going to be the most important one, I would say, and that's going to be the expense ratio. So the reason I had this pulled up is we're going to look at something like VOO, and both on the app and on the website, there is no expense ratio in like the stats about the portfolio, the ETF, anything like that. And there's another feature that we're going to talk about in a second that also isn't on the ETF page info on the Robinhood pages. So that's a big problem. So that's one of the reasons why you guys need to get and do some research outside of just looking up stocks on or ETFs on the Robinhood app, just because it doesn't give you the full story behind the ETF that you're buying into. So what is missing here is going to be the expense ratio. So, and that's going to be a good or a bad thing as a quality for an ETF. So something like SPHD, you guys know I'm pretty heavily invested in this. Bad day right now, but it's been good over the long run. And you could, but what we're missing here is that I can't know that I'm getting charged a 0.30% expense ratio, which is a very high expense ratio for an ETF. Something like a VOO, which is a very good quality of its really low expense ratio at 0.04%. That's going to change a lot of people's mind. If they were thinking about buying SPHD or VOO, couldn't decide between the two. If they saw that expense ratio and they know that 0.3% is going to be taken out of the portfolio every single year, then they'd probably switch to VOO. I personally am making VOO my core holding largely because of knowing that expense ratio and knowing I'm not going to get charged very much to hold that in my portfolio. So that's a big thing that's missing, and that's definitely something that you're going to want to know before you buy into an ETF. Now the next one, another thing that is not contained on the Robinhood app, is going to be the top holdings of a individual ETF. So we're looking at VOO here, so we'll stay on this page. But as you guys can see on Yahoo Finance, it shows you the top holdings here, and you can look over and check out the sector distributions, everything like that in holdings. I'm not going to click in there, but I'm going to read you guys off the top 10 holdings. It's going to be Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, JP Morgan, Berkshire Hathaway, ExxonMobil, Johnson & Johnson, Alphabet Class A, and Alphabet Class C. So those are some of the biggest companies in the world, but that's not something, and we know those are top S&P 500 companies, but that's not something that you get educated about when you were buying in on the Robinhood app. So definitely make sure to do some outside research, because when when there's down days like there wasn't right now, you might not have the same conviction you did about buying VOO. So when you know it's backed by these fantastic names and those are the top holdings in the ETF, you're going to be a little more confident knowing that these companies are very well managed and that there's a reason why they're the biggest and best companies in the world, and there's also a reason why they're likely going to be the biggest and best companies going forward. So the last one, or close to the last one I want to talk to you guys about, is going to be the objective of the ETF. So what's the ETF comprised of? What are they trying to do for you? Because if it's going to be one of your big holdings, it's going to be where you're putting a lot of money. You need to have all the knowledge you can around it, so you have a lot of conviction, you're passionate about your holding, and you know exactly what your holding is going to be. And this one actually is contained on the Robinhood app, and then you'll get the same thing on the About page here pretty much. But as we can see, the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF tracks a market cap weighted index of U.S. large and mid-cap stocks selected by the S&P committee. So we know it's the top 500 companies in the United States. You know it's going to be an American market, and you know it's going to be the very large cap stocks. So that's a good thing. And now let's contrast this with something like SPHD, because VOO is a pretty typical ETF. That nothing too different about this, but when we're looking at SPHD, the PowerShares S&P 500 high volatility, high dividend, low volatility ETF tracks a dividend yield weighted index comprising the 50 least volatile names chosen from a short list of the S&P 500 75 highest dividend yielding securities. So now that's a little bit more complicated. So essentially what this is saying is that they take the 75 highest yielding securities out of the S&P 500, so those 500 large cap stocks, American large cap stocks, and then they pick the 50 least volatile of them. So that's a completely different thing, and it'll also have different top holdings than what we saw on the other ones, because these are more of high dividend yield companies which aren't in quite as much growth mode. They're more in like kind of sustaining their profits and paying those profits back out to the shareholders. So it's a different look when you're going into either of these stocks or ETFs, I mean. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Make sure you know those three things. To summarize, you want to know the top holdings, you want to know the objective, and you want to know the expense ratio. Those are three things that are going to be absolutely critical to you having success with ETFs. And another thing you want to do with ETFs is definitely consider holding them for the long term. I'm not a big fan of trading, but some people are into it. I prefer long term, and I'd suggest if you're a new trader, a new investor, I'd suggest that you just put some money in and continually add on to that position. And then if you want to branch out into a little more trading later and you actually know what you're doing, then that's all right. But that's what I've got for you guys today. Please drop a like on this video, join our Discord chat, and if you haven't signed up for Robinhood yet, you can get a free app down below by clicking on that sign up link. Now I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.